Hello colleagues, this is John Herrera once again from MuniTemps and the City Speak blog and podcast. And today I'm taking up the subject of strategic planning and leadership retreats. How many of your organizations have done a strategic planning and leadership retreat, not just with management, but also with the governing body? You know, it's interesting when you go through this process of strategic planning and just on a big picture overview, and you sit in a room with 5 governing body members, whether it's a city council or a board of directors, and you realize you're in the presence of the elected representatives of the community that you work in. I work in city government, and I'll tell you that it's a huge opportunity when your city manager and your assistant city manager and the department directors come together to be able to have open communication with the city council or whoever the governing body is for your organization. And it's I guess the whole point for today is I put a title on the City Speak blog and podcast for today, and it's lead, follow, or get out of the way. I had the opportunity to engage with a management retreat and a leadership retreat with city council members and department directors, and you know, the lady who's championing this whole effort is she's the assistant city manager, and I saw myself in that same position years ago when I first started my career in local government. But I'll tell you that Alexis, if you're watching, we're behind you 100%. We're not the ones that are pushing for this change management, this move towards best practices, towards reestablishing a delineation of roles that management has versus the governing body, in this case, city council. But today I had the opportunity of participating in this strategic planning and leadership retreat with the city council. And we were able to engage in fairly candid feedback. You know, when you're looking at the governing body, city council, you know what their job is, right? And that is to they were elected by the thousands of citizens, residents of the city. These are elected representatives. These city council members, governing body members, they are elected representatives of the community. So they have a constituency. They have lots of people that they're accountable to. And so this city council is responsible for establishing the vision, working with staff to establish a mission statement, a core value statement, all of the guiding principles that these city council people or governing body members are looking to move the organization forward. Because the organization is the vehicle that provides efficient delivery of municipal services to the community. Every city is both an organization and a community. But in this strategic planning and leadership retreat that we had, it was so valuable that the city council was receptive to hearing the city manager and the assistant city manager and the department directors to give them feedback on what is needed for the communication, so that the management of the city, again from the city manager and all the directors and the management team that the city manager hires, we implement through the city manager's office, we implement the vision and the priorities and the adopted budget that the governing body, city council, approves. So it was really an excellent opportunity to get together with them. And we had candid feedback, as I said. That's hard to do. But we have some new council people in city councils across the United States. This is an excellent opportunity so that we have an independent third-party consultant that facilitates this discussion on how to improve communication, number one, between management and the city council, how to delineate roles so that the city council knows that their primary role is to establish the vision, to adopt policies, to adopt the budget, to adopt strategic plans, to adopt ordinances, resolutions through minute action, and then codifying all this into the municipal code and policies and procedures that management can then use as their marching orders on what needs to get done. We talked about projects, priorities, initiatives of the city council. And so, again, lead, follow, or get out of the way. If you're invited to participate in one of these management retreats, not just as management team, but especially when it's with a city council, take advantage of that opportunity, man, because that's once a year, maybe you get to do that. No more. So this is where we come together and we have candid discussions. You know, what do you do when city council people forget what their role is and they start getting into providing or trying to provide detailed direction to the staff, to the managers, right? That's not allowed. I mean, any one of us managers, we can talk to, directors, right? We can talk to city council members, but up to a point. There's a fine line there where you don't cross that. We really work through the city manager for most everything. And if we ever have a city council person coming to talk to us, of course we're going to talk to them. We're not going to say, oh, we're so afraid we have to go ask the city manager if we can talk to you. No, that's not the case at all. Certainly not at the cities that I'm working at. But the point is that when you have that privilege of participating in a strategic planning and leadership retreat, go all in, get involved, contribute, and support those that are championing this move on trying to achieve better communication and delineation of duties between the governing body, city council, and the management. Never would we want to just throw out contrary information just for the sake of throwing in controversy. No, that's not the point. Now, I'm very thankful that the city managers that I work with, they're very mature and confident and professional and intelligent city managers, as well as the assistant city managers who are there to facilitate open communication. And again, when I say lead, follow, or get out of the way, it's bottom line, man. Tomorrow, I'm going to be spending another session, but this time we're not going to have the city council. We're just going to have the management. And we're going to have a discussion about how we work. How do we communicate with each other? What standards of expectations do we want to have? What are our levels of service and so forth? We're going to get into talking about the budget, which is very important. We're going to talk about how we help each other, how we communicate with each other, how we build a team, right? Talk about unity, trust, support, and all of the actions that bring us together as a team. So I'm just really excited about the fact that some cities do allow these meetings to happen, these leadership retreats, strategic planning retreats. And I tell all of you, if you're fortunate enough to be invited, get involved, contribute, and support, especially those that are championing this, but they want to hear your feedback as well. I look forward to tomorrow. And really, this is the first part of my extended version that I do for my presentation at City Speak. This is John Herrera saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way, but always participate in these strategic planning sessions. It's an opportunity and it's a privilege, and it's so good for organizations to move us forward to the next level, to better serve our organizations and the communities that we serve. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you for those of you that stay for the next session. See you in a little bit. Okay, for those of you that stuck with me for this second half, I just want to go into a little more detail with you. Okay, this is where we really talk about the nitty gritty, right? Let's get to the nitty gritty, right? There's Nacho Libre, that's what he said. But listen, I've been working in city government for a long time. I've done a lot of these management retreats, these strategic planning sessions. And, bottom line is, with the city council people or the board of directors, whoever's the governing body, they don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. Let's be clear on that, okay? The ones who have to do are the ones that have to get paid. City council people are not getting paid six-figure salaries like those of us in positions of executive management, okay? So they have a responsibility. The governing body, the city council, board of directors, they have a responsibility to their constituents, okay? And yes, sometimes these city council people might forget what they promised not to do during our strategic planning retreats. And they may go out and say, hey, can you do this or can you do that? They might talk to staff. And hey, it's not a big deal, man. All you have to do is say, you know what, Mr. Councilman or Mrs. Councilwoman, I'm going to go ahead and have a discussion with my city manager about this, and we'll see if we can address this for you. But as you know, we're currently working on this project schedule. When you adopted the budget, we had our specific project list and our operating budget list of program of work that we're going to follow. So anyways, I mean, these elected officials, they're just human beings trying to do the best they can for their community. They're not trying to do bad, okay? They just want to see things happen. And remember, they don't get paid big bucks. You and I, we're the ones that get paid the big bucks. So we have a responsibility to take ownership. Remember, we're getting paid to provide a professional work. We work through the city manager, and to the extent that he delegates certain authority to us, we take advantage of it. So again, this point about lead, follow, or get out of the way, we're managers. If we're invited to this strategic planning and leadership retreat, it's because we're going to make a contribution. We're not just going to sit there quietly and just say, okay, I got to go through this. I have to do this. No way. I mean, and actually, I don't see that happening with anybody in the teams that I've been working with. Everybody wants to get involved. Everybody wants to contribute. I think it's the old guys, some of the old guys, they're ready to retire. They're really, they're ready to move on. I should be ready to move on, but I am not, because I love still helping. As long as a municipality feels that I can make a contribution, I'm going to continue to do so. So anyways, again, reiterating the fact that yes, we know that there is a right way and a wrong way, or even better, a better way and a not as good a way of governing an organization. But that's not our job as managers, directors. That's not our job. We were not elected by the people. The city council, the governing body, the board of directors, they were elected by the people. We have to, through the city manager, we have to follow whatever the city council and the board of directors tells us to do through the city manager. Okay, we don't work for the city council. We don't work for the board of directors. We work for the chief executive of our municipality, and that's typically the city manager. And if we ever go around that, you're going to get your neck chopped off eventually. Why? Unless you have that situation where you have a strong mayor form of government. I don't know of any that have that right now, because it doesn't work in most cases, especially small cities. But we have a council city manager form of government. The only employee of the city council over the board of directors is the city manager and the city attorney. The city council only hires the city manager and the city attorney. The city manager then hires everybody else. So who's our boss? It's not the council. It's the city manager. And we need to remember that. I've seen some directors that they think they're so influential in their community, maybe because they've lived there so long or whatever, and they think they can go around the city manager and go directly to the council. But I'll tell you, even if you are successful in accomplishing jumping over the head of the city manager, you're screwing up your organization. You're messing things up in the traditional council manager form of government. And eventually, what I've seen in 32 years, eventually you lose your job, okay? If you think you can play politics while also being a city employee, you're playing with fire. I have never seen it come out where it's beneficial to have that. No. We have to work with the city manager. As long as the city council has that city manager in that office, we have to respect the city manager and whatever direction they provide. So I just wanted to highlight that for today. For that if we're invited to be a part of the strategic planning and leadership retreat, get involved. And you know what? Everybody I know wants to do a good job, but not everybody takes their responsibility seriously. And so if you don't take your responsibility seriously as far as your responsibility to contribute to this management, the management changes that are trying to move the organization forward with best practices and having a better standard of how we manage, how we support the good governance that goes on in our organizations, in serving the city council and the community, maybe it's time for us to get out or step down to some other position. But these are really interesting times, in addition to the fact that we're having to redelineate the duties. I mean, it's so neat. One of the cities that I work at, we have a young mayor, and she's smart. She knows how to lead. Yet she's younger than a lot of the other people that are on this governing body. So we're excited to see what kinds of innovations, new ideas she brings forward in leading the governing body and the organization as a whole and better serving the community. We have so much diversity in the organization with, we have the baby boomers and we have the Generation X, millennials and Generation Z and so forth. And it's quite exciting. It can be challenging at times, but it's very exciting. And it's an opportunity for us to achieve greater productivity and greater synergy. But we're going to have to work through those generational changes that are going on as well. One of the things that I learned today during our management retreat is recognizing how polarized on a social basis the world is. And because of that, we as professionals, we need to turn off the social aspect. We can't get involved in these divisive kinds of opinions that are out there. Remember that whole COVID thing and who wears a mask, who doesn't wear a mask, who has to get the vax, and who does get it, and so forth. Understand that you have baby boomers like me. I'm the tail end of the baby boomers, but I'm still a baby boomer. And then you have Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and everybody has a different way of relating to the changes. We've never had so many changes in our organizations as we have today. So as professionals in public administration, in local government, city government specifically, that I work in, this is an exciting time to be working in professional public management. Professional public management. The ICMA for the city managers and the city manager track, the GFOA, right, for the municipal finance officers, the APWA for the public works directors and that whole public works track, the ICBO or the ICC, the AICP for the planning community development, and on and on and on. Professional organizations that are training us to get ready for leading in tomorrow's organizations, which tomorrow is here now. So get involved with your strategic planning and leadership retreats. Get your cup of coffee, get a good night's rest so you can be there first thing in the morning. I know I'm going to be there early tomorrow. As Joe Iriberry from the City of Hemet Water Department said, I'll be there with bells on. Whatever that means. I think it means that he's all excited. That's how I will take it. I hope there's not a negative meaning to that. But yeah, let's get involved. The champions that are moving forward these new paradigms in how to improve public administration so that we can better support our governing bodies to do better governance for the communities. I think everybody wants to do good in local government. We care about our communities. The United States of America is made up of 50 states, but it's also made up of some 100,000 cities, towns, and other localities that are incorporated with a separate governing body and city council and professionals. We're committed to professional public management as city administrators, as finance directors, HR directors, community development directors, public works directors, planning directors, code enforcement, building official, and police chief, fire chief. All of us as department heads, we're part of the executive management team, and we all have different levels of background, education, and experience. But this strategic planning and leadership retreat, it's an opportunity to come together. And you know what? You have the guys that are wearing, their boots and they go down sewer manholes, but they're decision makers and they're leaders too. We want to hear from you. Those of you that are code enforcement, building officials, planners, I've always thought of planners, they're thinking high in the sky in the future and all that. You know what? We want to hear from you too. And of course, us nerdy accountant types, right? We want to come together and really, everybody has something to contribute. And I'm so thankful that we have, there's some really good professional third-party facilitators that help facilitate these strategic planning and leadership retreats. So take advantage of that. I mean, call the city managers and assistant city managers to find out who they use. There are some that are really good. Certainly the one that Alexis, the one that you chose, really like this guy. I just appreciate the fact that he lets us talk and lets us talk about, what we see, what we want to contribute to our organization. And definitely, regardless of how long you've been with the organization, even if you're just an interim, an interim director. I'm an interim director. And Dennis, thanks for telling me that I'm a part of the team, even if I am interim. So whether I'm just there for 6 months or whatever, and anybody that's a part of the team and truly cares about the organization and can make a sincere and meaningful contribution, they want to hear from you, right? So I know I've gone around circles around here, but there's so many. Please comment below and either link, in one of the networks that you're, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever, please comment. I want to hear what you have to say. A lot of us that are staff and managers in the municipal organization, we might say, well, we don't trust the city council because they're politicians. They're just politicians. No, they're a lot more than politicians. They're the elected representatives. This is democracy at work here. They get elected. They're the elected representatives. And through the city manager, we do what they say. I mean, that's just the way it works in democracy at the local government level. So, really, really appreciate that. And of course, conversely, the other side is that they also need to continue to be kept within a reminder of what their role is. I mean, they don't even get paid a lot of money and they go through big stacks of agendas, right? So let's support them. Let's do anything we can to help them, to keep them informed. Today we talked about something called KPIs, key performance indicators, and we're going to be including those in the new budget model that we're bringing forward for fiscal year 2024. We have like 5.5 months to bring forward a new budget for adoption by this city council, and whatever city council you're working at. Put together something that your city council can be proud of, something that your community can say, wow, okay, now I know where my tax dollars are going. Where are my fees going? Where are the assessments going? In California, we only have three sources of revenue: taxes, assessments, and fees. And taxes, you can only raise taxes through a vote of the people, right? And then you have fees. Those have to go through a process of, a cost reimbursement basis. We don't make a profit. And lastly, assessments. There's Proposition 218. Remember that happened 20-something years ago. Has rules, but you really, what was that in 1997? I think it was. Prop 218, the Taxpayers' Right to Vote on Taxes Act. You got to go to the voters. Ultimately, who's more powerful and more important than the council? That's right, it's the voters. But it's up to the city council and the board of directors. They're accountable to the residents, not us. We're accountable to the city manager. He then facilitates and communicates and coordinates with the city council and or the board of directors. Then the council, as the governing body, then they are accountable to their residents. But don't forget your place. We have an organizational chart, right? Look at the budget. Look at the annual comprehensive financial report of any city. And look at the organizational chart. Who's at the very highest level in terms of the most important, most powerful? The citizens of the city, right? Then comes the mayor and council. Then comes the city manager, the city attorney, right? Then comes the assistant city manager and all the directors, the division managers, and down to the employees. So remember your place. I mean, that's what, again, I always go back to Lyle Alberg. Lyle Alberg, city manager, he's already passed. But he taught me a lot whenever I thought I was all that, One time I was in a closed session with not a closed session, we were in a closed door meeting with a subcommittee of the city council. Because of the Brown Act, you can't have more than two council people without doing a public noticing. The city clerk does all that. But at any rate, I was in a closed door meeting with a couple members of the city council, and I was getting frustrated with a lot of what I thought were lies that these two council people were saying in there. And after the meeting, Lyle comes up to my face and he says, "Don't you ever talk to a council member that way. You have no status. You're nothing. They are the king. They are the ones that set policies, ordinances, resolutions." And I had to think about that. And you know what? That old guy was right. Who am I? What do I think? Who do I think I am? I'm nothing. The city manager can fire me. You can look for your protections and your contracts and whatever you want. That don't matter. In the end, remember that the city council, they're the elected representatives of the community. We are nothing. We're nobody to ever be talking to them. You really have to have reverential fear for displeasing these elected members. They treat us very well. The cities that I work at, our city council people, my goodness, I adore them. Well, maybe not adore. That's too strong a word. I highly respect them, highly esteem them, because they're very kind and loving, and they treat us as staff with great care. That's why we work our butt off for them, and we'll always do that. But in this strategic planning and leadership retreat, remember, get involved, contribute. Don't ever poke fun at what we're saying. Everybody's ideas count, whether you're as I said, from public works, police, fire, community development, HR, finance, city manager, whatever. Everybody input counts, because we're brainstorming ideas, and the city manager and the assistant city manager and the coordinator facilitating the strategic planning and leadership retreat, they want to hear what we have to say. So please consider that, and give me a call. I'd love to have a chat with you anytime. But thank you, Alexis, Dennis, everybody in the city councils that I get to work with. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. You know the sincerity and the good work that everybody wants to do that works in your organization. Thank you for that opportunity. We take that responsibility with the highest respect and appreciation, and we hope we can work together to do really good with this fiscal year that's coming. And all for now. John Herrera, president of Munitemps Municipal Staffing Solutions and the City Speak blog and podcast. Thanks for being here with me today, and I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.